there's a video. We're living in an idiocracy. I do want to watch this.
Today, we're going to talk about something that everybody has experienced, at least secondhand, and some people unknowingly have also experienced this firsthand as
All right.
well. And that is going to be the decline of critical thought. This is something that I've been observing over the past 15 or
Mm-hmm.
20 years or so. And I think that it's definitely started gaining momentum recently. And I want to explain and kind of talk about and explore why is that really happening. And this is a very popular.
I'm going to agree with him here. All right. I know a lot of people don't like this guy. I know a lot of people don't. Like even myself when I first started watching him, I only watched him because of somebody else's video. Um somebody else's hate video. And they were like they're like, "Oh, I hate Asmongold, blah 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 blah." But then what he said about them wasn't that bad. So then I was like, "Okay, let me watch the full thing in context." And then after I watched it, I said, "Nah, this dude is kind of based." And then that's how I got down the Asmongold rabbit hole, and I said, "Yeah, this dude is not. He's not. He's not that wrong. He's not that wrong. You know. Yeah, I don't mind him. He's right sometimes. He's wrong sometimes. Yeah, yeah. That's it. That's it. Like everybody else. He's just a commentator. He just like me. Sometimes you get it right. Sometimes you get it wrong. It's what it is. Um. But yeah, like yeah, this dude was a trip.
topic in conversation in pop culture. There are things like idiocracy. There's the age old question that people
Hmm.
seem to be asking more often recently, which distilled down is something like, why are people so fucking retarded nowadays? And
Yeah.
today, we're going to answer that question.
Hmm.
And I actually think that there's a number of reasons for this that make a lot of sense. And the first
Hold on, hold on, hold on. Wait. You're still wrong about Fnatic attacking Z. Okay, but that's just my opinion. Hey, okay, you know what? You know what? I'll let you have it. I'm not going back down that rabbit hole. I'm leaving that shit alone. I'm gonna leave that shit alone. But I do agree with him. Like we're getting into a space of yeah, Ike with the definitive throwback, bro. Um, he's throwing out bait. Hey, he tried to get me to take the bait. I'm not taking it. I'm not taking it. I'll be here for like 30 years, bro. I'll be here for 30 years. I rode old and had kids on this damn stream. But at the same time, I do want to say, with him though, with him, like he's right. Like people aren't thinking anymore. Like, and I don't even know how to describe it. It's like everybody just goes to, oh, I feel something. This is what I feel. This must be correct. Like I feel it's right. Like no, what about being right? What about actually finding out if you're fucking right? What about actually spending the extra like 15 sardine mentality? Sardine mentality. Yeah.
have to understand is that you have to understand that people need an identity. And that identity used to be tied to a religion, which, by the way, required you to do the exact same thing that secular ideology requires you to do as well. But the religion was a little bit more creative about it. And let's be honest, a burning bush is a little bit more exciting than climate change, isn't it? But I can show you guys how there's
Mm.
definitely a correlation there. And so, anyway, this begins as a kid. And I think that nowadays, kids, I mean, I feel bad for a kid nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
They're growing up, they're 2 and 3 years old, they're getting addicted to Cocoa Melon. Then they get older, they've got Mr. Beast selling them, chocolate when they're like, oh, well, this is supposed to be healthy and it's not. They get a little bit older, they start, they turn 8 years old, they can finally write their name. And then by the time they turn 10, they learn about galaxy gas and then they forget their name again. And so you think about it as a kid.
That's such a sad scenario. Oh, these kids are fucked. Like when you actually think about it, like yeah, every kid's not gonna go through that exact scenario with doing galaxy gas and all the other shit. But yeah, they're pretty fucked. And the thing is, a lot of these people, like the galaxy gas shit, is permanent brain damage. It's not even like pseudo brain damage. It's permanent. Like you're down horrible. You're down bad.
nowadays, and you're really getting spawn camped pretty hard. But
Yep.
anyway, here's another component to it that's very interesting. Critical thought, and I think thinking as a concept, and you can think about this with IQ tests. With IQ tests, this, as with any conversation of nature versus nurture, it's
Mm-hmm.
often a lot of times some from column A, some from column B. It's a little bit of both. You can actually train yourself to become better at IQ tests to an extent. And I think that also what's happened is that people have trained themselves to not critically think. And I think that what's happened is that if you have, your brain and you're thinking about things and you're trying to solve things out and reason them out,
Mm-hmm.
you train your brain. It's like a muscle, just like any other thing. And if you don't use it, you lose it. If you use your brain, you're able to use your brain more. And if you don't use your brain,
Mm-hmm.
you're not able to use your brain quite as much. And
Facts.
I think this has happened a lot where people are effectively mentally AFK. And I think that they go AFK quite early on now in life because
No, don't no. So look. Did y'all hear about that thing that study where it found out that a lot of people they don't even have a mental voice in their head, like as far as like thinking in your head, like oh man, like subconscious, like a voice in your head telling you like oh I shouldn't do this or maybe not. Like there's some people they don't even have that. They don't have a conscience. Like they're just making a series of decisions back to back to back to back to back. Like there's no thought at all. Like and it was a high percentage. It was like a third. It was like close. It was either a third or close to a third of people like just do not have that inner voice. And then when you think about that, like that's absurd. Like to think like oh my god, I don't have an inner dialogue. Like I can't hear myself. Like you don't hear yourself at all. You just talk just to be talking. Um. Oh my god. Oh. Whew. Man, I be feeling like I be feeling like I'm a baby. Like I be having to get burped, bro. Acid reflux sucks, man. It sucks.
whenever we were kids, and by we, I mean all of the other boomers that
Oh, and he's absolutely correct about kids getting spawn camped. Like I wasn't sold anything outside of like toys and cartoon shows. Like that's it. Like that's all I had to worry about. Now you got to worry about your food and other stuff and da 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 da. Like there's specific advertising and it's just like geared towards you like all day every day. And cell phones are even worse. And they're giving these kids cell phones and they're getting like these dopamine rushes. And then they found out that when watching is it Coco Melon? It's either Coco Melon or this other show that it deteriorates your brain cells. Like not deteriorates your brain cells, but it causes people to be like have speech delay. It literally causes kids to have speech delay. Speech like they're not able to get weaponized advertising exactly. They're not able to develop speech at the same rate as other kids. It's actually not teaching them anything. They say the show is educational. It's not. It's actually having the opposite effect. Like kids are having delayed speech development from it.
for 3,000 years ago in 1990. And we were kids, and we would be told, you won't have a calculator in your pocket. By the way, Miss Williams, you're fucking wrong. Dumb bitch. I knew that she was dumb. And I was right. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is that we all learned how to do addition. We all learned how to
Mm-hmm.
do multiplication. We
Yeah.
learned how to divide fractions. And learning math is learning logic. And learning logic is learning how to critically think. And
Mm-hmm.
now that there are so many tools, calculators, things that you can take a picture of it and it just automatically solves the equation on your math test, there are all these tools that people have for them nowadays
Mm-hmm.
that effectively take different instances of critical thought that a person would have to do, and now that critical thought no longer has to occur. You no
Yup.
longer have to think about this yourself because the app does it for you. You have computers now, and it's weird because you're having like this weird like historical bell curve where boomers, actual boomers, don't know how to use a computer, And then
Mm-hmm.
people that are around, I'd say like 40 to like maybe 25 or so, definitely probably know how to use a computer. And what we're seeing now, this is really scary, is young people are now again learning how not to use computers. This is, by the way, another thing that Idiocracy predicted. And
Mm-hmm.
that there would be a bunch of, like, wow, these.
No, no, he's right. He's right. So there are things that you're assumed, and I've learned this at my job. I learned this at my job. So at my job, we're getting in new people. When we hire these new people, you would assume like, oh, these kids they definitely know how to use Excel and PowerPoint and like all the like tips and tricks and all the little fancy stuff with computers. Like you would assume they know this. These kids don't even know how to write a proper email because they're not taught how to write a letter. Writing an email stems from being able to write a letter, and nobody's teaching them how to write a letter anymore. Like I fear for the day they actually have to write their congressman or something because they don't know how. Like if you hid $1 million behind being able to write a letter, most of the population is cooked. They don't know FMLA format, bro. On God, they do not know FMLA at all, bro. You know what they think? You know what they think that is? Family Medical Leave Act. That's what they think FMLA is. Family Medical Leave Act. I bet money. If you said that to somebody, they'd be like, "Oh, the Family Medical Leave Act." I bet that's what they think that is. Like, why I need to know that format for? Like, that's exactly what they're gonna say. I bet money on that.
Machines, how do they work? Nobody knows. Well, anyway,
Mm-hmm.
nowadays, kids, because these computers are so well designed, they don't really break as often as Windows 98 used to or Windows XP
Yeah.
used to, and you don't have to go into CMD to release and renew your IP address every single time you get a new router. It
Mm-hmm.
just does that for its own. It does that on its own. It does that for itself. And because of that, people never really learn how to use computers. They don't really understand how the computer
Mm-hmm.
works. And I think that the problem with that, and I actually, and here's what's really crazy about that, is that I bet people that are 30 years older than me, 40 years older than me, would be saying this exact same thing about us with cars. Because now every
Mm-hmm.
car, you don't have to open your hood to figure out the way that it works. All you have to do is plug it into a little USB thing or a connector at AutoZone. It gives you an error code, and then you take it to the mechanic, and the mechanic fixes it based off of the error code. Much better system. However, people know a lot less about cars. And I think the same thing is happening with computers now because computers are becoming much more defined, tighter, more enclosed systems
Mm-hmm.
that don't require as much critical thought to reason out problems with them because they're just better at solving the problems themselves.
So I'm gonna stop him here because I really agree with that car example because the I gotta stop. I'm not gonna use another example from work. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. I have to stop doing that. I have to stop doing that. But needless to say, like people don't know what's going on with their vehicles anymore. Like I can open the hood of my car, I can slide up underneath it. Like I don't want to, but I could, and I could change my oil. You know what I'm saying? I could figure out if I have a leak of brake fluid or need to replace the wiper fluid or figure out if it's the coolant or the antifreeze or whatever. Like I can figure all that stuff out. I could do it. I could do most things except for like plug a tire or some shit. It's just I don't want to do it. I know how to do it, but I don't want to do it. Like I changing your tire. Like there's people that don't know how to do that. That's a problem. That's a legitimate problem. Like skills that we need to know to survive. You know what I'm saying? Skills that will help you when you're on your own. They don't transfer. Like you don't. I mean, not transfer, but you don't have them. Like so, they're left in a bad place. I went into the medical field, and I didn't learn about my car until I switched over into the trucking industry. Bro, bro, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. You were just like everybody else. Like, don't feel bad. Like, I wouldn't feel bad about that. Like, I wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? I was doing work on cars. Like I was detailing cars. So part of detailing cars, you gotta know something about the cars. You know what I'm saying? So when you're cutting it on, if there's another problem that develops after they get it from auction, because they were getting it from auction, then they would detail it, then they would sell it. But part of my job was if I heard something funny, heard funny business, you know what I'm saying? I could tell them, hey, you know what I'm saying? It got whatever going on, so we can get that fixed, so then we can turn over that car because they can. I get paid when the car. I get paid before the car is turned over, but if they're able to turn over cars at a better rate, then I can keep getting paid. You know what I'm saying? Like if they don't have money to pay me with, that's a problem.
In some cases, you just get a new computer. It's called planned obsolescence. Very cute.
Mm-hmm.
And so, anyway, I think this is happening also with math. And every other form of critical thought is being outsourced to some sort of machine, to some sort of AI, to
That's why I made the video the other day on my channel about parlays because I knew people only gamble parlays because they don't understand the math. And I quickly was explaining like the statistical odds are if you have like it's not that you have a 33 plus a 62% chance of something happening, right? And those are independent. No, those things both happening is 33% times 66% or the 63% or whatever I said, right? It's that times against itself. You know what I'm saying? And then when you add in another scenario, you multiply all of that, and that's why the decimal, the fraction, keeps getting bigger and big. Like it keeps getting smaller and smaller, like because the percent chance of all of these things occurring are less likely. That's why parlays are a horrible bet. You end up with odds that are worse, that are absolutely and categorically worse than doing the lottery.
some sort of thing that is external from yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So now the individual, the kid, doesn't have to actually think about how to solve what is multiplication, what is a fraction, what is division, etc., right? What is algebra? They don't have to understand the logical implications of
Mm-hmm.
algebra because they have a computer that will do that for them.
Yes.
And I think the problem with that is that once you abstract so many avenues of critical thought, you at a certain point abstract critical thought itself. And the worst part about this is that it doesn't end in school. I
Mm-hmm.
think this has happened all across the entire culture. And every single group of people, and this is going to ruffle a few feathers here, and that's why I'm doing it. But there are a lot of things that,
He's
in my
such an
opinion,
asshole.
if you evaluate these things critically, you can easily see how they don't really make a lot of sense and how there is a common conclusion that any normal, reasonable person would come to. I'll give you two examples, and we can maybe do two more examples.
Mm-hmm.
The first example is going to be the really easy one. This is the one that a lot of people can probably agree on. Have you ever seen the graphs or like the charts? This is for the America people here that shows how many areas are red versus how many areas are blue. And they show, oh, well, look how many more red areas for Republicans versus Democrats. Why is it that the races are so close? Well, it's because a mountain doesn't really have a lot of people living on it as much as the same way a city does, for example. And so it's basically people that are willfully misunderstanding data.
Bro, no, he's not lying. He's not lying. Hold the fuck on. Hold the fuck on. I have to pull it up. I have to pull it up. Election results 2024. Let's look at this map. Look, this. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. God damn it. Nah. Okay. Okay. Well, there's that. But I want the image. I want the image. I want the image of the map. No, that's not it. That's not it. Where the fuck is it at? Where is it? Where is it? Damn it. Damn it. They don't have it readily available. No. No. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh God, what the Okay. Oh. Oh, these oh, 56 point. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, 100,000? She lost only by over barely 200,000. Damn. Um, okay, there's more in South Carolina. That's to be expected. Man, what? I mean, she does. She got curves up there. Wow, 100,000. Ohio, Michigan. Michigan is like super tight. Wisconsin. But anyway, wait. Let me click this. Like, see, when you click into each state, and they're like, "Oh, look, all these red areas. No wonder. No wonder he won." Salt Lake City is like the majority of the people. Nobody lives out here. There's nothing. It's woods. There's like bears, deers, and squirrels and rabbits. A lot of them. Like there's not enough predators to eat all these damn squirrels and rabbits. Maybe they're out here voting. I don't fucking know. Then you go to Colorado, you see the same shit. Wow, Colorado's not done reporting these districts. Like what the fuck? Um. Anyway, or maybe they're just not updating the map anymore and they don't give a fuck. But anyway, you have all of this out here. These are mountains. These this is no man's land. Nobody's living. Most of these places that are nobody's living all the way out here. Like nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing that at all. Let's see. Let's see. Another state, Phoenix. So you have Tucson. Oh, Tucson went blue. That's crazy. And then Phoenix was red. Oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting. California. California has a lot of red, but guess what? People don't live out here in the desert. No, where do they live? They live along the coast because they people like nice things. They live in the city. Why? Because people like nice things. Nobody lives up here in the woods. Ain't there's nobody but people growing drugs. Okay, this is the Ozark, where the movie The Ozarks takes place. Is just from here up. Okay, here up the coast. Like there's nothing but woods and weed, trees and weed. That's it. That's it. So yeah, he's absolutely correct. I can't find the map that I'm looking for though, but it is what it is.
But the problem here is that I think that we've had such a long time period of willful misunderstanding that people have stopped acting. And here's
Yeah.
another one: climate change. This is a really big one. Now, the big concept with climate change is not whether or not it's happening, it's whether people are causing it or not. Let's use a little bit of logic here. If you light a cigarette in a room, the room will smell like a cigarette.
Yep.
If you light a bunch of cigarettes in a house, the house will smell like cigarettes. If you have a lot of pollution in the city will have a lot of pollution in it, and it will be unsafe to breathe in. There are a lot of places, I think there's a few places like that that used to be like that in China, for example. So, in a theoretical world, it would be very logical that if you caused enough pollution, that
Mm-hmm.
you could negatively affect the earth in a bad way. This is somehow a bridge too far for many people, and many people are unwilling to even come to the conversation of thinking about whether this is happening or not. And I think the reason why is because that type of critical thought puts them at odds with the ideology that they subscribe to. And this is something that, again, religion, we used to outsource this over to religion, but because people don't believe in that as much anymore.
I'm 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 gonna use his climate change example. That was good. That was good. That was good. Cause it's gonna really. That was really good. I'm gonna really prove a lot of people are stupid with that. That's a really good example. Like to walk them up the scenario with just cigarettes. Yeah, that's really good. I like that. I like that. I like that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna make my example worse. I'm gonna give them something they don't like. I'm gonna be like weed. I'm gonna use weed as an example for the climate denialists. Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. I like that. I like that example. I like that. I like that. I'm gonna go back a little bit so he can cook with his religion stuff.
They subscribe to. And this is something that, again, religion, we used to outsource this over to religion, but because
Okay.
people don't believe in that as much anymore,
Mm-hmm.
now we've decided to invent our own new forms of bullshit that, as I said before,
Yeah.
are much less exciting than Jonah living in a fish, just to be honest. And so here's another one:
Mm-hmm.
transgenders. Oh, this one's going to get people. Obviously, a transgender, male to female is going to have a biological advantage against a biological female, all other things
Facts.
considered equal. Any reasonable person knows this, and you can easily see this too, that there are very few biological females to males that then go on to compete in sports at a professional or a very high level. I'm sure
Yeah.
it's happened once or twice, but I don't think exceptions prove rules. So the point is that all of these things are extrapolations of scientific reasoning and logical reasoning that, based off of which side of a different you're on, you
Mm-hmm.
are not allowed to have these opinions. You are not allowed to think for yourself. And I think that's really what I'm getting at here is that you are no longer allowed to think for yourself
Mm-hmm.
because thinking for yourself eventually takes you off of the off of the reservation or off of the range that you are supposed to be living in. You never want to think for yourself because you could accidentally make a mistake. You could think too far. You could
Which is absurd to say you thought too hard about something. You thought about it too far. Like, hey, maybe you should just stop thinking. Like, I don't know if I subscribe to that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I could really subscribe to that. That sounds crazy. To tell that to people. And yeah, I would say this, like, because I've already made my own videos about it. I stand 10 toes on them. You can watch them on my YouTube channel where I literally go, yeah, like it's wrong to have me. I think it's the most anti-feminism. It's anti-woman. It's the most anti-woman thing ever. It's the most misogynistic thing ever. To for a man to change his gender and then go dominate women in a sport and want that to be okay. I think that's absurd. I think that's absolutely absurd. I think that's misogynistic. I think that's selfish. I think that's peak narcissism for a man to do that. I think it's peak narcissism. And I think women, as a protected class, we need to treat them as such and protect them from those individuals. And I'm not saying those individuals are necessarily violent or like they mean them harm or anything like that. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it they can't you can't allow them to be in the same sport. It's just not possible. That's why we made men and women divisions. That's why sometimes you would have if you have to be very when they have mixed leagues and mixed competitions, like as far as genders, they have to balance it a certain way because it would be unfair. Women aren't a protected class. You sure? You sure? Because they were covered in affirmative action. You sure? Or maybe using the word protected class is wrong. They are minority. They're minority. I get what you're saying. I using the word protected class is wrong. Using the word protected class is wrong. No, I'm gonna give you that, Testy. I'm gonna give you that. Using the word protected class is wrong. They are minority. They are minority. No more than men, anyways. Yeah, yeah. They are minority. They are minority. They are a group that has been historically suppressed and oppressed, by men. And I think it's only fair. I think it's only fair that as men we try to protect them from other men. And part of that is telling trans women, hey, you either start your own league or you play over here with the guys. But you can't go play with the women and think that's going to be fair. You're 6'3". Cut the shit. Cut the shit. You're 6'3". It's almost as bad as the TikTok dude that looks like a dude, looks like a dude in a dress with lipstick on and gets mad with his strong jawline having ass that somebody goes says him or sir to that person. You can't get mad when you're not even female presenting. You're not even female presenting. You just look like a dude that's just wearing a dress and putting on lipstick. That's what you look like. Seek help. Seek help. Now, if you want to go get further work done so then you can actually look softer and actually carry a woman's appearance, then so be it. You know what I'm saying? You want to actually get the work done to where you actually look like a woman so then people can respect you and give you the pronoun that you deserve. Cool. But you can't put lipstick on a pig and tell me it's a cow. I'm going to be like, yo, that's a pig with lipstick. Like, that's it. You can't paint a pig. Oh my God. Anyway, I think I used a lipstick on a pig thing wrong, but it's neither here nor there. It's neither here nor there. Like, even if you painted it white and black, like, it still would be a pig. Oink, oink. It is never going to move. That pig will never move.
you could commit a wrong thing. And when somebody does this, they
Hmm.
get completely excommunicated. I think a great
Yeah.
example of this is J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling said obviously the female experience is something that only biological females can experience in this unique way. Now, it doesn't mean trans women can't be women. It doesn't mean they shouldn't be treated.
Okay, wait. I got a nuanced take on it. Broadly though, I do think there's an unfair advantage. Also depends on the sport. If we're talking archery or something, then I don't care. Yeah. Boxing, keeping. Yeah. You know what? That's my main thing. Contact sports and like highly competitive stuff. Like for instance, what is it called? Like swimming, for example. Swimming. Women, men have a certain build to where they're more muscular and they're able to go at a faster speed than women. I literally watched the trans swimmer, don't remember their name. Like they were beating people so badly. But then I watched the number 1 girl stay the number 1 girl and get the silver medal, and everybody in the stands was Leah Thomas. Leah Thomas. Yeah, is that the dude, or is that the trans person? Is that the trans person? Is that the trans person? And then like the girl, like everybody was celebrating her silver medal, like she won gold. Okay, yeah, that's the trans person name. Okay, Leah Thomas. All right, cool. So yeah, so Leah was not even getting celebrated. I think people booed. If I remember the video correctly, I think people booed and people cheered loudly for the other girl. And I was like, yeah, this makes sense because you're a big ass dude. Like you should be swimming with Michael Phelps. You shouldn't be over here talking about, oh, I'm the best woman in the sport. No, you're not. You're not, because you're not a woman. Women have a very distinct upbringing that I think it's disingenuous for men to pretend like we're even close to what a woman is. The struggles in which a woman will have to face, and granted, women have some advantages as well, but the struggles they also have to face, I don't think we have to face them in at all, at all, at all. Dealing with just sexual assault and battery and different things of that nature. Like we don't have to deal with that in spades like they do. Like yes, we are victims of it as well. There are male victims. Don't even get that twisted. There are, but what happens to women is so categorically worse on a higher level. It's not even close. When women say something like, "Oh, I fear men," I can't even give them full pushback. I All I can say is, "Hey, not every guy." That's all I can say, because I know there are some dudes that are literally sick people, and I know that's different from the topic we're talking about. So I'm gonna just rewind just a smidget, and I'm gonna let them get back to it.
only biological females can experience in this unique way. Now, it doesn't mean trans women can't be women. It doesn't mean they shouldn't be treated like women. But the experience that trans women have is different than the experience that a biological woman has. This is a completely
Yes.
logical thing. I think that probably
See,
90% of people think this,
that's
but people.
that's crazy. He just said what I said. He just said what I said. Because it's not even nuts. I'm gonna let him say it again because it's not
Like
nuts.
women, but the experience that trans women have is different than the experience that a biological woman has. This
Facts.
is a completely logical thing. I think that probably 90% of people think this, but people have to live with their mind in a cage and pretend like they don't. And what I think happens is that as soon
Mm-hmm.
as a person sees what happened to, let's say, J.K. Rowling, where she gets completely excommunicated by her group of people, right? Because she used to be a very like
Mm-hmm.
liberal person, etc. She got totally excommunicated. Everybody hates her now. And she also, by the way, got way more radicalized to the other side. So it does have a negative effect too. But most importantly, the point that I'm making here.
See, so when you're not reasonable, you end up radicalizing people that shouldn't even be radicalized, because you create enemies out of people. Like hold on, let me see. Like as a man, when you walk up into a space, you unconsciously size up every other guy in there because we understand that if things get physical, we got to be prepared. Men fear other men, and I don't fault women for fearing men on some level. Yeah, Yeah, I absolutely agree, Testy. Absolutely agree. But as you say, not all men. Yep. Yep. I completely agree. I completely agree. And I'm a double back to his point. Like when you're creating a space for somebody, right? Um and basically, you've put them in a place where they can't even express to you uh how they actually truly feel about a particular topic. Um excuse me, without you wanting to cancel them. I think that's egregious. Like you gotta allow differences of thought. You have to allow it. As long as it's not racist, I think it's okay. And for her to say I don't think trans women are women, I think that's okay. Because it's true. You wouldn't have trans in front if that was the case. And so now you have, oh well, we're gonna call the regular women cisgender. And I think that's insane. I think that's absolutely insane. You There's no reason to put cis in front of women. We already understand what woman is. You don't need to redefine what a woman is. I agree 100%. We should definitely listen to people's concerns and engage with them honestly, even if we may disagree. Exactly, exactly, and that's why I understand his point and my point and the point of other conservatives. Like, you know what I'm saying? If and that's the thing. This is how if we want in 2028 to win another election, I think Democrats are going to have to find themselves in a space where and liberals as well, where you're actually talking to people and actually willing to concede ground on stuff that is verifiably true. You can't lie to people. You can't piss on them and say it's rain. You can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. People won't allow it. People are trying. People are thinking, and they're not gonna go for it. Space needs to be allowed for those combos. As you say, it just radicalizes them. Yeah, yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. They end up just being worse and worse. That's how Trump won this election. We radicalized everybody. Like people, and I'm gonna stop saying we. Y'all did it because y'all were telling people like, "Oh, you're completely an idiot." Da 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 da. Da. You weren't giving them any ground. Like when I talk to MAGA people, you know what I'm saying, and different conservatives, you know what I'm saying. I'm willing to meet them halfway on some stuff. I'm like, yeah, whoopty whoopty whoop. But what if we did this and this? Oh, that doesn't sound too bad. Like you can even get them to walk forward. You can get them to take a step forward and meet in the middle. And it's like, cool, middle ground. We agree on something. Boom, we're good. You know what I'm saying? But now you've created a spaces where these extremists now are running the dialogue for us. And neither side wants to compromise and get in the middle. And I say we should just isolate both extremes out. The hyper liberals and the hyper conservatives, push them out of the conversation. Push them out. Push them out and let's run our country the way that we want to. Because we're not going to get anywhere listening to these extremes. That none of them want to compromise. None of them do. Both sides almost want blood.
Is the fact that when you think for yourself, when you let your own experiences dictate the way that you see the world, you oftentimes come into a direct contradiction with the ideologies that you are part of. And people don't like to think. People don't like nuance. And I think this has always
Mm-hmm.
been true, right? I mean, we had Salem witch trials. They burnt Joan of Arc. Galileo was suppressed. I mean, we've always done this. But
Mm-hmm.
what's interesting nowadays is that it's done for a secular reason, and it's the interesting, circumstance.
Hold on. Let me see what you had to say, Tessie. I say both sides have done it. They have shut each other out. I think the transformation is pushing people more to the middle, which I see as a good thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of people, including myself, people are starting to look around and go, "Yeah, y'all are crazy," and we're starting to have dialogue in the middle. I think this might be the first time ever where we might be able to actually like if we could get somebody that could actually like capitalize on this momentum and this feeling, we could get in a legitimate third party. We could get legit third party that could actually be effective in government and governance. We could get a legit third party, not the Green Party, not the Libertarians, not Wig, and not all these other people. No, they're jokes. They're jokes. Ha 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 ha. Get them up out of here. I'm talking about a real third party that works for the best interest of Americans. Yeah, I love that. Forced compromise. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. 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 Because that's what it is. We're at a point where we don't even see each other as all Americans. Like, yeah, I disagree with you, but we're all Americans. We're in this together. We're in this together. Because we got people that are plotting on our downfall, and we need to come together and make sure we're straight. We do.
application of critical thinking when it's something that you've already agreed with the conclusion on. And I think that's what's really happened. And
Mm-hmm.
so you have people that are growing up in school and they ask questions. They, like, because, a kid thinks, like, why is this way? And, oh, wait a minute, you can't ask that. You can't ask these. You can't think about it like this because this is the wrong way to think about it. And
Mm-hmm.
so now you're stepping outside of that box that you're supposed to stay in. And I think this
Yeah.
also dovetails very well into the way that cults work. Now, a lot of cults, there is a turning point, right? Whether when you're going from, the under level to the upper level of the cult. And this is the point where you are now given the arcane esoteric teachings of whatever madman decided to invent this cult. But
Mm-hmm.
before you do that, you have to do some form of initiation that oftentimes requires you to forego your own logic, forego your own thinking,
Mm-hmm.
disregard reality, and accept their version of reality as your reality. And the
Mm.
reason for that is it's a degree of commitment. How committed to you are you to this cause in order for you to fully be part of our in group? And I think that now people are performing
Mm-hmm.
that initiation ritual at a mass level. They are
Yep.
they are basically performing the initiation ritual themselves for society to.
Okay, let's see what we talking about. People focus on whose fault things are, and I blame Trump for a lot of how we got here and otherizing people, but we're here now and we got to deal with it now. So here's what I'd say. I wouldn't even blame Trump. It was this where there's before there was a fire, there was smoke. There was a lot of Americans that were just being left out of the dialogue. They were because people were being here's the thing. America's not about race. It is classism. It is classism. Until the day that we as Americans realize that we're in class warfare, we will always continue to keep otherizing each other. This is class warfare. This is haves and have nots warfare. We need to lock in and on this that much first. And the moment we can get there, because remember, I remember a time during like Occupy Wall Street, right? I thought race relations were great. I thought we were doing good. I thought we were progressing in a positive direction. Right after Occupy Wall Street, all this like divisiveness started to enter the dialogue. All this, oh, we need to blame black people, blame Indians, blame illegal immigrants, blame this group, blame, and nobody looking in the mirror and looking at themselves and going, okay, maybe this is my fault for buying into this system and believing this person is actually going to look out for me when they've been nothing but greedy their entire life. Preach. This is actually why I prefer viewing things through the lens of class rather than race or gender or other things. Yeah, yeah. I firmly believe affirmative action should be based on wealth. It should be based on wealth. Like bring back affirmative action, but base it on wealth. It would still help the majority. And here's the thing: most liberals and most like black people and different things of that nature, they are so idiotic they won't even accept that. I'm like, Blue, the majority of us are broke. It's gonna help us. If it's based on class, it's not based on race. So we don't we ain't even gotta be looking at it. Like we ain't even gotta be a part of it. Like on paper. Like it just says poor Americans, if you make under this, you qualify for this. Boom. Period dot. If it says that, we get to go in a positive direction. Um, all of us, and it removes that hostility, and you stop somebody from being a you know what I'm saying, being an extreme. You prevent a potential extremist. You know what I'm saying? You stop the ideology in its tracks. You stop it in its tracks. And I think that's wonderful. I think that's what we want to do. We want to stop this madness.
Oh, wait a minute, this person is actually part of our team. And it becomes more
Mm-hmm.
important that you are following the line of thinking, the like, the group of people that you think are, or that you're part of. It's more
Mm-hmm.
important that you follow their line of thinking than you follow your own line of thinking. And I
Yep.
think that that's what's really led to the decline of critical thought. And so you have machines nowadays that think for you. So you're not exercising that critical thought. You don't need to troubleshoot anymore because the machine does that for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also have society that's actively trying to suppress every form of critical thought that you can possibly fucking have. Like, there are a lot of things that many people can always agree on, but because of political spin, it turns into being a controversial issue. I
Mm-hmm.
think things like lobbying or something like that, like gerrymandering, etc. But people contort themselves into doing gymnastics to
Mm-hmm.
justify them because these things are what is preferential or advantageous for their side. And I think that the
Right.
more that you do that, the more that you practice not thinking for yourself. You practice not actually applying your own thought, not trying to evaluate things based off of your own experiences. And the worst of all is the fact that it's not that you're not thinking, it's that you're letting somebody else do the thinking for you.
Yeah, I completely agree with him here, bro. Like you gotta think for yourself. You have to tell people, shut the fuck up. Like, you know what I'm saying? I need to think about this. Just give me the information and let me see what conclusion I come with. Don't try and influence me. You know what I'm saying? Don't try, Mr. Influencer, Mrs. Influencer. Don't try to influence me. Let me come to the conclusion myself. Give me all the information and let me read it for myself and go, okay, yeah, this is how we should go about fixing this. You know? And again, if you want to pick, oh, I like the conservative solution to fixing this, okay, that's fine. But we're just addressing the problem. If you're talking about, you know, oh, I like the liberal way to fix it, okay, cool, we can go forward with that. But I think a lot of people, they're so like bogged down in the class warfare. It's just absurd, just absolutely absurd.
And I think that's what people want, by the way. I think that there is a primal human desire
Mm-hmm.
to take all of your existential problems and then give them to somebody else, and then they're going to tell you all the answers. You don't
Yeah.
have to think about this shit anymore because that's really complicated, and it's much easier just to watch football or play video
Yep.
games. So the fact is that
Escapism.
that's why I think that we're losing a lot of critical thought. We don't have to use our brains anymore, and the times that we do are usually a mistake. And I think this is going to keep getting worse, by the way. It's going to keep getting worse and worse and worse until it reaches a fever pitch
Mm-hmm.
where it's just a unrecognizable reality and people have to turn around. But I think that, again, uh, being able to, it's almost like, it's kind of like, it's, I would say it's like virtue signaling, but it's like,
Fam, fam, I agree with you here, bro. So look, so peep this, right? So affects us all, and these things, other things subdivide us. So for example, right, class wise, we're all like like compared to the richest of the rich, the people who are rich, we're like, you know, we're bottom of the barrel, right? We're at the bottom of the barrel, and we're fighting for scraps, right? We're fighting over like a crumb, right? A piece of, let's just make it something even, like a slice of pizza, right? And so it's a pepperoni slice of pizza. So now, you know what I'm saying? Uh, you know, everybody starts eating on it. And then one group of people go, well, damn, y'all ate all the pepperonis, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, no, we didn't eat all the pepperonis. We just ate what was on our side. Well, I don't believe you ate what was on your side. You should have gave more to us or whatever. Like it just becomes like we're fighting over just like the last bit, and it's a lot of us fighting over that one piece. Like that's giving a slice of pizza to four. I'll make the example a bit more simple. Like four children, right? Somebody doesn't want the crust. Somebody just wants the other part, but somebody really wants the crust. Okay, cool. Y'all could compromise and agree that on this particular part of the pizza that's ours, I'm gonna give you the crust for your whatever. And that person goes, yeah, I'm with it. And then y'all do y'all trade, and everybody's good. Everybody's happy. But we're not able to like get past the whole ideology. We'd rather fight each other over scraps than get food from the table, than get a whole meal from the table. Because the table, there's too much food on it. Nobody's gonna eat all of that. And they're just cooking it all just to show that they have wealth to show off to somebody. Meanwhile, there's all these starving people, you know what I'm saying? All these people down at the bottom that could use that meal, could use a hand up, and they have no like desire to actually actively help them. It's crazy.
It's hard signaling in a way where now you're going out and you're saying these things, and it's like, okay, this is the person who's saying that. I don't want to give like a big list because it's going to trigger a lot of people in chat, but you're going into the PC spamming of certain people, and you're saying the thing that you're supposed to say, and then once you do that, now you're part of a club.
Wait,
Now you can
can y'all see me? Can y'all see? Okay, yeah, yeah. I'm still here. I'm still here. I don't know what it is. Like it started lagging again, and I just wanted to make sure y'all can see me. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Bet.
because you have decided to forego your own reality, forego your own critical thinking, and instead adopt the critical thinking and the reality of the group. And I think that that's why we don't have people that think for themselves. It's because they're afraid to. They're afraid to think to
Mm-hmm.
themselves because if they do and they think too hard or they think too much in one direction,
Yeah.
they could end up ruining their entire life. And you see this
Bro.
happen. You see this happen with someone like J.K. Rowling. Not like she's ruined her whole life, but it's just a person who is asking a question, who is trying to express their worldview, and they're completely hated by everybody. And I think that there are many such cases. And I'm curious, guys in chat, has there ever been an opinion that you think is just absolute common fucking sense? And then if you mention this opinion or
Bro, like for instance, my position on it's like because I don't agree with disrespecting people, so I would never like go through the whole thing of like misgendering somebody. I think that's ridiculous to misgender somebody on purpose, like just to be disrespectful and confrontational. Like I think that's stupid. I think that's very beneath like the underlying issue. Like that's just so stupid. Like you can either not use pronouns at all and address them by their name the whole time, or when you use pronouns, you use the preferred pronoun and you move on with your life. It's not that serious. But I still get into people with it about because I just refuse to refer to them as women. I refuse. I refuse. I refuse. I refuse to even see them as a subgroup of women. I don't. I don't. I don't. They're a subgroup of men that have decided to be like women. That's it. You go 6 feet under and you've been down there for about 10,000 years, what they're going to see is them like, oh, this is a male skeleton that was around sometime during the 2000s. That's what they're going to see when they dig your body up. And that's what it is. Sorry, not sorry. That's just what it is.
this opinion, everybody hates you for it. And I think that the more of those that we discuss and we talk about, the more that we can get back to actually thinking as a form of coming to a conclusion rather than as a form of reverse engineering a conclusion. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like instead of making up your mind on what's true and then trying to logically justify it, you should look at logic and try to, inductively decide what is actually the truth. And
Yes.
I would love to see things go back to that, but I think the first thing that you have to do is you have to acknowledge the things that are not that. And I think that we have so many of those nowadays in our society. And again, people are afraid to step outside of that box because you can ruin your life for doing so.
Yeah.
And you see many such examples on social media and on the news. And I think that kids, again, are just getting farmed because they never have to critically think because machines do everything for them. And I think that's exactly what's happening. And things are just going to keep getting worse until number one, people can acknowledge it's a problem,
Yep.
and number two, it legitimately becomes a problem. And I
Yeah.
think you're probably going to see that in workplace productivity going down maybe in the next 20 years or so. But by then, we'll have
Yeah.
everybody replaced by robots, so maybe it won't even matter. Either way, guys, that's what I think. So I'd be curious to hear what is your example of something that is so critically obvious, but people try desperately to deny that it isn't true. And I've given some of my examples. Some people might disagree with them. That's totally okay. But
I think what he's saying here, like I agree with the premise of this video that people are getting more stupid. I feel for kids because they it's like they don't have an option, and I've noticed sometimes even when somebody will disagree on some like level with let's just say it's like some type of black issue, right? They just go like, "Oh, this person's racist because they don't support this thing." I'm like, "No, what if they just don't support the actual like idea of how black people are going to go about doing that? What if that's it?" Because some people they literally just talk about the idea and somehow now they're racist for it, or now you're a sexist because you don't agree with how, how like abortion goes. Like I I can understand the moral standpoint, like if you're dealing with abortion, right? From a morality place and you're talking about from your place of religion and you're going, "Yeah, I disagree with this." Because you are killing someone or something. You are preventing their life manually. Not through an act of God, you are manually stopping life from developing. If you're manually stopping life from developing, yeah, I can get it. I can get it. I can rock with that. That makes sense. That makes sense how people get upset about that. But when you have scenarios, um, what I'm saying, like even in that scenario where you have those people, I think it's a problem. I think it's a problem to not to ostracize those people. That's where I was going with this. To ostracize those people and tell them like they shouldn't even think that at all. Like you can draw a lot of logical conclusions where you can just straight up just I guess it's me wanting people to be honest about what they're doing. You're killing a baby, you're eliminating life. Just say it. Just say it. Don't try and sugarcoat it and make yourself feel better. Just stand 10 toes on it. Like, yeah, that's what I did because I wasn't ready to take care of a baby. I ended it. I ended it. And the craziest part is I support people being able to do abortion. I just want them to be honest. That's it. Just be honest.
I think that many people have very similar examples, and I think that that is the real reason. And again, the lack of meaning and the lack of trying to identify with a group, or the lack of having a group to identify with, is the reason why people are willing to give up their critical thought and
Yes.
just immediately be part of that group instead, because it's a lot more convenient and it's a lot safer to do that. And so, anyway, guys, I like making these videos. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this. I feel like these topics are sometimes a little bit heavier, so I try to be funny with them as much as I can. But overall, I really appreciate you guys watching them. A lot of people were really positive about the last one. So if people like them, I'll keep making them. And if they don't like them, well, if I still feel like it, I'll make them anyway. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one.
This
Peace.
man traded out his cokes that used to be behind him for sodas. I'm not gonna watch the online gambling epidemic. I do have some other news stuff